Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Soul Frequency Festival. Today, I have a really special guest, Paul Avgerinos. He describes his music as gentle, peaceful, and kind to heal and uplift your body, mind, and soul. And Paul is an Amma devotee and a multi-Grammy winning artist, producer, and engineer with over 300 million streams. And he's a classically trained multi-instrumentalist and singer with 40 critically acclaimed ambient new age albums on Round Sky Music. Paul is also very active, composing and licensing music for film and TV with a catalogue of over 9,000 tracks. His ASCAP statements regularly exceed 6,000 lines of performances. A full scholarship graduate of Peabody Conservatory, Paul lives and works in Reading at Studio Unicorn, where the deer pass by his studio windows and the hawks and eagles give inspiration from above. Avgerinos is one of the giants of ambient music, said All Music Guide, and gratitude or joy, if you manifest one, the other will follow, is his statement. So, Paul, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Aishwarya. Thanks so much for that glowing introduction.
Yeah, sure. So today,
It's actually true. It's good.
yeah, it always sounds like surprising when someone reads it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right.
no, brilliant. And then today we are talking about the spiritual power of music. So let's just dive straight in. And I just want to ask you, how did you begin your spiritual path in this lifetime?
Right. So when I was a young teenager, around 11, 12, I was playing in rock bands and jazz bands and all. And but when I was about 15, I discovered Mahavishnu John McLaughlin and his Mahavishnu Orchestra. And it completely transfixed me, and I became obsessed with him and with his path, his guru Sri Chinmoy. And amazingly, his guru Sri Chinmoy, who at that point lived in Queens, was coming to Norwalk, Connecticut, about 7 miles from where I was living as a kid, every week on Saturday. So I said, "Oh, I'm going down there." And so I went down there, and you know, it just was so amazing. And concurrent with that, I was having a lot of difficulty with teenage angst. My parents had gotten divorced. I was very shy. I was having trouble, you know, reaching out and dating. And I was a pretty sad, distressed teenager. But then I discovered that music was so soothing and it just connected me to God and to pure spirit. And it gave me such a feeling of deep peace and contentment and confidence. And then I saw John McLaughlin living this in public, living his faith and his devotion through his music. And I said, okay, that's what I want to do. I want to do that somehow. It doesn't have to be exactly like John, but I want to be in music, but I want it to be spiritual and uplifting and truly deep and satisfying. Not just make a living in music, but you know, the spiritual, the deep end of music. And so that's how it all began. And I was very blessed to have so many boons from the goddess. I was just kind of stumbling through life, but somehow I found myself with a full scholarship to Peabody Conservatory. And the way I got there was just very magical and serendipitous and very unlikely, so it was all the grace of God. It was totally all the grace of God. And it keeps happening in my life. So, I find it's law of attraction. The more you see that future, that you envision that future that you want, the universe cooperates and opens doors and makes things happen. And you get that serendipity and synchronicity and these magical confluences of events. So it's really quite fabulous.
And it just is so important to remember that when, you do music now and someone could look at you and think, oh, that's how I want to feel. So it's so important to follow your passion and do what your heart is telling you to, because it's like a symbiosis, like co-creation. Other people see you and it awakens something in them. And that is a really like a true power of music and art.
Yeah, it is. It's so beautiful. All of us in this community, our tribe, we inspire each other and we uplift each other and comfort each other when we're going through difficulty. And it's very beautiful how you have this ultimate truth of oneness, but there's this beautiful diversity of expression and of experience that allows anything. It's so vast that it's fabulous. I see a hummingbird in the morning at my feeder, and you imagine the reality of that creature, its vibration level, like its existence. It's such a different experience than what we're experiencing, but yet we're connected. There's a oneness there. So it's so beautiful and humbling to live in that oneness and celebrate it, but honoring the diversity, and and loving the difficult people. That's what I'm always says. It's easy to love your beautiful sister. She's sitting in meditation like a goddess. Yeah, but how about the guy that cuts you off in traffic and swears at you or throws a rock at you? It's a little harder to love that one. But if you can do it, it's a beautiful thing because it frees you. It frees you from that duality, that horrible egoic duality of suffering, of feeling different, separate, being angry, bitter, all those terrible emotions that come from egoic consciousness. So it's wonderful when we're able to choose, yeah, those emotions are flowing through me, but it's not who I am. That's not who I am. I am Satchidananda, pure consciousness, bliss, pure consciousness, pure existence, pure bliss. And if we stay in that place, life is less painful and more beautiful.
Mm. That's such it just really got me thinking about when you said we have to love the difficult people and how we need to be, we need to be full of our own energy and full to be able to do that. And I think I'm guessing that your spirituality, your music is a big part of why you can be so full.
Oh, a huge part. It really is. It's the primary spiritual practice. Yes, I do yoga and I meditate every morning and every evening, but my true deeper practice is really the music, because there I'm in for hours and hours on end as a meditation, as a sadhana, as a spiritual practice, slowly working out a piece, playing the notes, arranging things, listening to the goddess. What should I do now? What do I do now, Saraswati? And a little thought comes in my head. Oh, I think you need to add crystal echoes on the Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. It's very beautiful. It's very meditative, peaceful process. Yeah, so people have a misunderstanding about meditation. They think it's only, this one thing, but there are active meditations.
Mm.
You can meditate all the time. You can stay in an elevated state of consciousness even when you're functioning in the world of duality. And that's what we want to achieve. It's not that hard to reach a blissful, peaceful condition in a nice, quiet, warm room meditating. But can you do it in the middle of rush hour traffic and anxiety and deadlines and problems? That's always the test. Alma says, yeah, you're sitting in the cave in the Himalayas, you're doing great. And as soon as you go to the marketplace, you get anxious and angry and frustrated. It's like, well, what kind of yogi is that? It's not a real, it's just a superficial, right? Yeah. So Alma's such a great teacher. She's just amazing. The fact that she exists is hard to fathom sometimes. So
Hmm.
beautiful, though.
Definitely, definitely. And you talk about quantum physics as well, and you tie that in with music and spirituality. Can you tell us like how you see that connection?
Right. Yeah, that's an important revelation that, through quantum physics, or physics first and then quantum physics, we've learned that everything is ultimately energy. Even what appears to be the most solid thing, a block of granite, is actually subatomic particles swirling at the speed of light. And there's more space within the block of granite than there is matter. And that leads to the fact that all these subatomic particles are connected with each other. The particles in the block of granite connect over to Mars and to Andromeda Galaxy and to you and to me. And so music works in that bandwidth. Of course, it's not vibrating at that high of a frequency, but it's still a vibrational art form. It's vibrational art form, vibrational spiritual communication, because in your music, sound waves are frequencies. They're waves oscillating through the air. And so music reflects that energetic aspect of existence. And so I like to call music the queen of the arts because it's so closely connected to the actual reality of existence, which is vibrational. And what is music other than vibrations? So I think that helps, and it helps to understand the power of music. Look how powerful it is. A song can completely change your mood. It could uplift you, it could make you cry, it could bring you great peace, it could cause your heart rate to rise up. It could do all kinds of things. It's so powerful. And when we use it wisely, it's a great friend and tool and helper. And there you see the pure power of it because the vibrations are hitting us where we are vibrating, and we are vibrational beings. So, what better way to connect us into the oneness?
Hmm. Yeah. Wow, that's just such a, yeah, you're so right. When we do listen to music, it literally changes our whole anatomy, our vibration, everything. So we do need to be conscious about the kind of music we're listening to. And that's what this event, we're bringing together really conscious artists who have made their music with a higher consciousness, with their heart. So to see the difference between this and other maybe music out there that sounds nice. We want to connect to it, but it doesn't have the best effect on our bodies. And in saying that, we're leading into your meditation, which is a Ma or meditation, which is 15 minutes, and it is taught by Amma, the hugging saint. Could you tell us a little bit about that meditation before everyone experiences it?
Sure, this is a beautiful practice that Amma introduced many years ago, and it's so simple and effective. And we simply, as we're breathing in with our eyes closed, we hear the sound ma in our mind's eye, in your, how you can imagine a sound in your head. So
Mhm.
during the whole in breath, you hear ma. Ma, of course, is the Divine Mother. It's pure love. It's the divine universal mother, the goddess of the universe, the creator of the universe. And then as we breathe out, we hear oh, the seed mantra, the sound of creation, the pure light of wisdom, the om. And so every time our thoughts appear and our mind wanders off, we just bring it back to the ma. And a good way to start is just by watching your breath first, and just settling down into your asana, into your seated pose. And then when you're ready, you slowly introduce the ma as you're breathing in. and the Om as you're breathing out. And it's very nice because it gives us an uplifting focus point, and we're invoking the Divine Mother. We're invoking pure, unconditional love into our hearts, and we're vibrating with pure light and wisdom as we breathe out. So it's very powerful seed mantras, bhajans, excuse me, bija mantras that just seed mantras, ma and om. Uh, they're part of many great mantras, of course, these two syllables. So it's a wonderful practice, and I've been doing it for years, twice a day. And meditation, like everything else, it goes up and down. You're going to have periods where you have amazing meditations, you go very deep, you feel blissful, you feel connected to the whole universe. And other times, it just doesn't seem to click. Maybe you're too much on your mind, you can't really settle down. But the important thing is to keep a regular practice because just like music, showing up is very important.
Mm.
Because when we have a regular practice, the goddess can work with us. She can take us through the difficult parts and she can lift us up deeper and higher in the good parts. And, everything in this existence is cyclical, waves up and down. So we just accept that. We don't expect to always have a great meditation. Like you don't expect to always make the best piece of music of your whole life. Obviously, you couldn't, right? Yeah.
That
So,
makes sense, yeah.
yeah. So I encourage everyone to cultivate a steady meditation practice and to be gentle with yourself. Don't put high expectations that you're going to have a nirvana experience, after 2 months. Just receive whatever comes gracefully and with love and peace, and you'll most often be surprised because when you least expect it, the goddess will drop a boon on you, and you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, what? Where did that come from?" Right? You have this amazing experience. Well, it's because you've been showing up. You've been showing up, and the goddess sees that. The Lord sees that. The Guru sees that, and at the right time, when you're ready, you receive a boon, and then you go to another level. It's very beautiful. All we have to do is show up with faith and love and devotion.
Beautiful.
God does everything else.
Yes, I totally agree. Paul, thank you so much for this amazing conversation that has just opened up new pathways in the way we think, the way we experience. We'll put all of Paul's links down below, roundskymusic.com, his Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. So all of you that resonate with what we've talked about today can be part of Paul's community. And of course, the meditation is coming up right now, so stay tuned. And thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you, Aishwarya. It's lovely to be part of this. Thanks for doing all this.
Of course.
Namaste.
Namaste.